Everything you have ever known about reality and existence has been nothing but lies and false promises. This world is in utter shambles, pure chaos, mass hysteria everywhere. Open your eyes. There is a secret underground society of cephalopods, and they are poisoning the waters, and it is turning the frogs gay. And I don't think it's a coincidence. It's literally Pride Month. I didn't make this up. This is literally a thing. Coincidence? I think not. The whole idea of the existence of gay frogs really makes you start to question how the rest of the world truly works. And if we truly have an understanding and a grasp of the reality universal plane that we are currently residing on. For all we know, the world could just be one giant simulation. We're all just in one giant Sims game. And the cephalopod lizard people elites that are turning all these frogs gay are sitting here clicking away, dude, having a grand diddly old time while I'm in an existential crisis, dude. I gotta pay rent and shit, and they're having a good grand diddly old time up there. I would love it if you would be willing to drop a couple of dollars to at least get me some type of drip upgrade, dude. There's gotta be at least some type of cosmetics available in this game. Conspiracy theory Iceberg. Shout out Wendigoon. A very dashing, upstanding young fellow. Look at him, luscious locks.
Boy, am I excited. So there's been this image floating around for a while.
Did you see that? Soon as he looked at me, he got excited. I've got that effect on people, you know?
I'm excited. So there's been this image floating around for a while called the Iceberg conspiracy list. And for those of you that don't know, it is a picture of an iceberg, and on it there are several separate tiers that gauge conspiracy theories from how known they are to how unknown they are. I'll actually throw it up now so you can look at it. As you can see, it is huge. There are several variations.
Oh, wow, very interesting. Oh, yeah, I've seen, okay, yeah, I've seen that Yeah, that one. Oh, Yeah, I'd say this is a pretty detailed list here. Yeah, just taking a lot. See, that seemed like they hit every single one of them, you know?
But I think this one is the best. Not only
seems like I don't. And Chad, do you guys think we're missing anything here? Does anybody know a good conspiracy that you don't see on this list?
Most well structured, with different tiers and specifics for what each tier means, but it also is the most comprehensive. As I tried to find research for this, I'm telling you there was none. Like, no one had done a full breakdown of it. There's a couple people who did one or two, and then after researching it, people were saying that everyone who did full reviews of it was having their videos taken down. So we'll see what happens. So I decided, who better?
Their videos are getting taken down. YouTube is contributing to the gay frogs, and they don't want you to know the truth.
To do it than me. Technically, a lot of people. That doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is, because this thing is huge, every one of these phrases can lead you down an entire rabbit hole of research and investigation. Some of them are well-known stuff like UFOs or Bigfoot, but as you get into some of these later ones, it gets creepy. Like, you drag over some pretty scary ones.
What about the frogs?
Flesh markets or children trapped in
human flesh markets! That's literally just Facebook Marketplace.
Floors and things such as. But once
that's not a conspiracy, dude. It's
really
like
far into it,
Craigslist.
Like tier 9, tier 10 stuff, it gets like God's ego death, or the universe was created as a test, and things like that that have like these whole networks and stories behind them, but just aren't commonly known. And I'll go ahead and say right now, none of what I'm talking about means I believe it per se. I'm simply conveying what the conspiracy is because I think it's cool. And some of these are awesome. So what I'm going to do here is... I don't know, man. You seem like a pretty trustworthy guy. Some random guy who I have never met in my entire life and have no knowledge of any credibility that you have whatsoever, just telling me random things over the internet, dude. I don't know, man. A lot of people seem to believe those types of people these days, huh, you know? I am going to do a quick run
I trust you.
Tier 1, and then the next video will be tier 2, and etc. Like I said, the further you go down, the more crazy they get, so this one's pretty much to whet your appetite. Although there is a lot of cool stuff at this tier that I learned in research for this video. Some of the ones we'll get into in later videos are absolutely crazy, like the City of Broken Candles, or the Valley of Headless Men, and things such as. But, like I said...
The Valley of Headless...
I'm gonna go through the entire chart.
Where did their heads go?
So we're starting with Tier 1. The title and description for Tier 1 is Crazy Head, and the description reads, Mainstream conspiracies and unsolved mysteries. Most of this stuff is well documented and known to a good portion of the Western citizens. A lot of common theories may be grouped in broader terms or may not even appear on the chart at all considering their meaning and popularity. Also, quick disclaimer on this first tier, this doesn't really apply to the others, but some of these
very common, well-known conspiracies, and I've only ever seen 3 of them.
Terms or may not even appear on the chart at all considering their meaning and popularity.
Big Pharma! This is gonna be fun!
Tier, this doesn't really
you got Big Pharma and Atlantis on the same list.
The others, but some of these are so well known, or you've heard so many times.
But the frogs
to cover them, like fake news or Bigfoot or UFOs. Like we all get it. I don't need to go into detail about them. But without further ado, let's get into this, and thank you for watching.
Bigfoot is real.
Big Pharma. Most of you know about this. It's pretty much just a huge encompassing theory.
I saw a PlayStation controller to him once.
Suppress vaccines and cures that are made in order to make money off of treatment. Next, we have Atlantis.
Dude, that's kind of facts.
A huge encompassing theory that pharmaceutical companies suppress I feel
like this is kind of facts. I feel like this has gotta be some kind of facts, you know?
Vaccines and cures that are made.
I don't think that's much of a conspiracy as we think it is.
Atlantis. Original records of Atlantis date back to Greek times, I believe.
Dude, Atlantis is like
Athens,
off the coast of Florida.
Located somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. And since they couldn't have got to North America, that would require there to be something in between that has since disappeared or sank. Next up, we have one of the first
Atlantis is like it's like off the coast of Florida, dude.
Ones that I didn't know about until getting into this.
Nostradamus.
Nostradamus was an old philosopher who came up with several of the constellations.
I thought that was the remember the hash slinging Nosferatu.
Nostradamus was an old philosopher who came up with several of the constellations and discovering the night sky, and it is believed that several of his predictions came true later, such as World War II and the Great London Fire. However, from doing my own research, this is kind of BS because, like, for example, the London Fire, he said that there would be bad things happening in London, and then a bad thing happened in London. So
it is London. I mean, it is London, dude. It's pretty easy to predict something bad is gonna happen in London, cause it literally is London. Like, I could sit here and say something bad is going to happen in London tomorrow. I guarantee you it's fucking London, dude. Like, just everything's bad in London, bro.
Yeah, the Mandela effect. Most of you are probably
that's just London.
It essentially says that there are parallel universes that cross over with each other in minor ways that we're not aware of. For example, those who remember the Bernstein Bears from their childhood may be surprised to know that it's actually the Bernstein Bears, and that several discrepancies like that exist. Like the Monopoly Man has no monocle, and yada yada yada. This is a cool one. It's very deep. It goes on for itself. So if you're interested, check it out. Next is Malaysian Flight 370, which disappeared somewhere over the Indian Ocean. The conspiracy states that there is a US military base there, and more than likely...
Can't you use, like, the, what are those things? It's like the little square, and you connect, like, Bluetooth, you know, and you, like, find it? What is it? It's like a tile thing?
Plane was either
just use that
towards it or flew too close to it, to which the U.S. military shot it down and covered up all evidence of it. Although, practically, I feel that there's a lot of movement.
Somebody told me that it was the Russians. That's what I was told. I was told it was the Russians that did it. Those damn Russians.
Evidence of it.
You know, and I saw it on the internet, so it must be real.
Practically, I feel that there's a lot of moving parts in that couldn't be kept secret for so long. The GMO conspiracy regards GMOs that are in several foods, from fast food and markets and things such as, which are used in this conspiracy to cause food shortages and hunger in people, so essentially the whole get the customer addicted idea. Orbs is rather vague. From what I figured out, it's referring to the orbs that are seen in photographs when taken in the sunlight. So, you know, dust, particles, things
the
like
sun
that.
glare?
It says that it is a paranormal or supernatural occurrence. So yeah. The New World Order, for those that aren't familiar, in
The cephalopods! I was just telling you about this.
Revelations in the Bible, it details
The Cephalopod Lodge!
One world order in the end times, and this will be in much more specific detail as we get later on into the Iceberg, but at this tier, it's basically just referring to the idea that all governments want to come together to make one government. I know I keep like advertising later into the Iceberg, but there's good reason for it. Some of the ones down there are insane and get into specifics of how one world government can be achieved and things such as. So stay tuned. Next,
I love how he's just like sitting in like a chair, and it's like one of those like steel foldable chairs. You know what I mean? Like they use in like WWE. It's like a disposable chair. He's just chilling in it. He's got his one camera set up on his tripod. He's got Astro World in the back. He's leaning back, and he's just firing them off, dude.
Nibiru Cataclysm. Nibiru is a planet, or also known
Love
as
it.
Planet X.
He's truly living his best life.
That was predicted.
Got the hoodie on, you know?
In 2003 to collide with the Earth in 2003. So
there's no risk of physical, damage to his body.
An idea that a meteor or any other body could hit the planet one day and kill us all. Now we get into the fun stuff. The Bilderberg meetings is an event that really does happen every year in which Western economists meet with European governments to discuss capitalism in the West from all the evidence I could find. Obviously, there are several theories that come from this, especially since the fact the press isn't allowed and there are no notes to be taken. So a group of world elites talking behind closed doors in high places. Nice. Transhumanism is more a philosophy than a theory, really. It applies a lot to anarchist rings, oddly enough. And it's transhumanism, that humans can be further expounded on or bettered through augmentation of computer parts and like cyber.
Have you seen the psychotic shit they're doing with AI these days? Have you seen those realistic sex bots that they're building that look like real human beings with like facial expressions, and they're creating AI computer programs that have feelings and emotions? Nobody wants to listen to me though. Nobody wants to listen to me though.
BEK, or Black-Eyed Kids, is a recurring...
What the hell is that?
Genetics and things such as. BEK, or Black-Eyed Kids, is a recurring phenomenon in the supernatural community of small children appearing with blacked out eyes. You can follow this rabbit trail pretty far, but
I've been telling y'all, children are nothing but little demons.
Pretty much surface level.
That's what I said.
Creepy kids who appear whenever tragedy happens. So people chalk it up to ghosts or extraterrestrials or what have you. Next is Antarctica, which there is a slew of Antarctic conspiracy theories. Everything ranging from giant holes appearing in the middle of Antarctica, to government bases being down there, to that's where the world elites hide.
There's also that one conspiracy of Antarctica of some guy who thinks he's a supervillain and he's gonna take refuge in Antarctica and build a big, giant, super secret evil lair on the mainland of Antarctica for the hopes and dreams of world domination. But that's totally not gonna happen. Nobody like that actually exists, okay? That's actually totally not gonna happen. Nobody has to worry about that, you know what I'm saying? It's totally just a conspiracy.
I mean, you could spin forever on this, so moving on. Next,
no one has ever planned to do that, ever.
For those of you that don't know, before the Columbine shooting, the two shooters made a series of videos detailing what they were going to do, how they were going to do it, and generally talking about how they hate people in their school and there needs to be a cleansing and things such as. These tapes still exist,
the psychos,
although the conspiracy resides in no one knows who has them. However, randomly portions of them will appear online, leaving people to believe that they're out there maybe exchanging hands, but no one knows where they're at. Next up, we've got Operation Northwoods. This is a rather well-documented case, but essentially during the Cuban Missile Crisis, there was reports put out by the CIA that said to warrant a war with
Cuba. The CIA! As soon as you start mentioning CIA, it's not a conspiracy anymore. It is not... They found me! They're coming for me! We've learned too much! We have learned the truth! We were not supposed to hear any of this! We were not supposed to... Is Wendigoon okay? Can we get a status report on Wendigoon, bro? Fuck!
there was reports put out by the CIA that said to warrant a war with Cuba, they should commit acts of terrorism against U.S. citizens.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You could tell me that the CIA secretly has Tupac is alive, but his head is Walt Disney's cryogenic frozen head attached to Tupac's reanimated half cyborg body, and they have him stored away in a cave deep underground underneath Ohio, and I'd fucking believe you. Absolutely, I believe. This is a CIA. This is the CIA, dude. They don't give a fuck about nothing. They just doing whatever. They be probing people's brains. They be like.
And then blame them on Cuba to justify a war.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Next up is PSYOPs. This is also well documented. Just the fact that specifically the U.S. government, as well as other governments, is known to employ psychological warfare, from noises to conditions and supply rations and things like that. The Vela incident is an event occurred off the coast of South Africa in 1979. What happened is a system of satellites known as the Vela satellites captured two back-to-back giant flashes for seemingly no reason. However, after reading into it, it was probably just an unsanctioned nuclear test because this satellite system had caught them before and they looked similar. And the whole conspiracy is just because there was no...
I was gonna say, I gotta see the video.
Yeah, probably just nuke testing. Next we have giants. While this one seems vague, later...
Is this a real picture? I've seen this picture before. This is not a real picture, is it? Or is this like some weird... Is this some like weird like art thing? Right? Like some artist? He's expressing himself?
Tears get into it more specifically, but essentially in the Old Testament of the Bible there are several references to giants happening, and obviously...
Why does it look like this one fell down from the beanstalk, bro, and he like face planted?
Today there doesn't seem to be any. However, this conspiracy, as we get into it later, applies to the deep state and cover-ups and things such as, so I don't want to spoil any of it yet, but this is a good mention that... asterisk mark, so to speak. We'll get to it later. Padma McCord is an interesting one.
Okay, the fact we're getting to it later, deeper into the iceberg, kind of... I'm paranoid now. Like, giants? Now, trust me, I've got some as giant.
Line by the name of Padma McCord, who owns, for some reason, thousands, if not millions of URLs, which... looking at this on the outside, you'd say, oh, it's some company using a name or whatever, until you go to the URLs and it's just pictures of her face photoshopped onto other women for some reason. And every one of these websites has millions of backlinks to other websites, which someone who knows tech may know more about it than I do. I have no clue why. It's
what?
Just the Elisa Lam incident. For those who haven't...
I solved Elisa Lam. Janitor.
Around on creepy internet videos like I have.
He was a maintenance guy.
Who Elisa Lam is, but it is a story that is worth your time.
Check out the vid, by the way. You know, you'll see. I explain it all.
The Hotel Cecil.
I explain it all.
For some reason, it's seen in security camera videos. Runs onto an elevator, freaking out, keeps jerking around, thinking something's following her. Runs to her room and is never seen alive again until she's found 3 days later in the water tank of the hotel.
There's a maintenance guy.
There's never any evidence of a killing. No one was ever found in connection to it. And it is one of the wildest videos ever to watch, knowing that she was never followed and there was never evidence of anyone following her. It's really strange. I'll leave you to look into this one yourself. But it was one of the first videos I remember that kind of got...
It was the janitor guy.
I don't know, like creepy, dark web, whatever.
The creepy guy. The creepy janitor guy, you know? Like every hotel has a creepy janitor. It was the creepy janitor of this hotel.
Into this whole, I don't know, like creepy, dark web, whatever. The Terry Calico picture. This one's just sad.
This one is, like,
there was a woman
I'm
named
uncomfortable.
Terry Calico who's suspected to be abducted in the early 90s. And then a few months later, a picture of her bound and gagged turned up in a parking lot around the area.
Nah, that's fucking... What? They just found a picture picture in a Kmart, in a parking lot. It's just there, blowing in with the trash and the receipts, just blowing in the fucking park. That's fucked. That's crazy.
Kidnapped. It leaves a lot of questions of
that is insane.
Left there and what any of it means, especially since it was just in some random convenience store parking lot. But like I said, this is just sad. The Madagascar of Mattoon. I have never heard of this before until researching it. But apparently in the 40s, there was a series of gas...
Like, how do you just find a picture like that? How do you just find a picture like that?
The Madagascar...
Like, it's just in a... Like, it just...
...of Mattoon. I have never heard of this one before until researching it. But apparently in the 40s, there was a series of gas attacks that occurred in Mattoon, Illinois, which investigators mostly chalked up to mass hysteria and people who left their fuel lines running. But everyone who it happened to, which was dozens of cases, claimed that it was an individual that ran up to them and attacked them with invisible gas. So, yeah, have fun with that one. COINTELPRO. Like Operation Northwoods, this one's pretty well documented and known at this point, but
that's one of those CIA things, right? That's one of those. That's where there's probing people.
Before the
they were shoving things into people's orifices.
Became a thing. It's evidence of the FBI illegally spying on U.S. citizens to gain information.
Told you, they implanted something into your ass and they're listening to your every conversation.
Information and blah blah blah. Yeah, government bad. The Mao-Yale connection. This one pretty much just says...
Check your ass, dude, for any devices.
Communist emperor of China, Mao Zedong, was in secret connections with Yale University in ways to indoctrinate students and receive funding from them and vice versa. From what I've seen, it's mostly just conspiracy jargon, but you can check it out for yourself.
Imagine you go off to an Ivy League school to get a top quality, world-class level of education, and you get indoctrinated into a cult. You get indoctrinated into a cult. You only get to wear white clothing. You have to drop out of, once you join the cult, you're forced to drop out of school and live at the sanctuary. And it's just a bunch of teepees on a beach. You eat nothing but coconuts.
The I-70 killer. This is referring in the spring of 1992, there was a series of 6 murders of gas station clerks on the I-70 interstate. And no one was ever caught, but some sketches were given.
Nice.
From everything I've found, this is simply just...
Dude, with the gas prices these days, we gotta watch out for this guy. Chat, there's just people, there's a guy running around just slashing people up at gas stations. If you see this guy nearby, listen, you better stay away from gas stations.
Unsolved. The Majestic 12 is a reference to a board member of 12 people put together by Harry Truman in 1947 to recover all alien spacecraft information and things such as. This relates back to Area 51, although it's a bit more specific in saying that there's a committee.
So yeah, BYU, basically.
That looks over anything that happens with extraterrestrials. Also, Area 51 was also in this first tier list, but like I said, it's one of those that's so obvious there's no reason for me to talk about it. Red Squads are, again, a pretty well-documented government thing that during the whole Red Scare of the 50s and 60s, there were groups of U.S. police officers whose sole purpose was to hunt down communist sympathizers and arrest them for whatever. The secret...
Dude, there's officers these days who's... Let me relax, dude. I was gonna say their sole purpose is to run around shoot.
Really hard to find information.
Let me relax, bro.
Such a vague
I'm gonna say something that people don't like.
Alex, I think it's referring to a book that essentially is a self-help book that says, thinking certain thoughts deliberately will change the course of your life. So, not sure why it's on there, but, you know, we're still in tier 1, so whatever. Acupuncture is an interesting one. This relates back
to... so far, the only thoughts that I've ever thunk in this life have given me chronic depression, so... Look at where we're at now, dude. The thoughts I have in my brain are telling me... Dude.
But, you know, we're still in tier
1. They're telling me mean and hurtful things, dude. They bully me. My thoughts.
So,
they call me fat.
Not sure why it's on there, but, you know, we're still in tier 1, so whatever.
Is that a smell?
Acupuncture is an interesting one. This relates back to the big pharma I mentioned at the beginning, and essentially says that acupuncture heals several diseases, but it is purposely put down and not given attention by mainstream media and doctors.
When I first learned what acupuncture was, I said, hell no. Hell no. You want to stab me all over various parts of my exposed, naked, vulnerable, innocent body? You want to stab me multiple times? Hell no. And then I saw Final Destination. And I said, hell to the fuck no. Hell to the fuck no. Acupuncture, you have lost your mind. I'm also never going to a chiropractor, because you got me fucked up. You think you go, I'm strolling on in. It's a Wednesday afternoon, 2 o'clock appointment. Hey, doc, it's a lovely day. Just had me a strawberry milkshake. And he snaps my neck. I never walk again. Absolutely not. Acupuncture, the chiropractor, and then the thing where they put like smoldering hot lava rocks on your back. What is that?
Because it would put them out of business. So it's an interesting rabbit hole to go down. The Max Headroom incident is something that happened in 1997
I know that guy.
in Chicago.
That's the
Two
guy.
broadcast stations suddenly cut out and cut to a video of a man wearing a Max Headroom costume, which is a character from British television, who began talking random jargon and swearing, and then had someone spank him on camera, and then the broadcast cut out. What's interesting is that there's never been anyone named a suspect, there was never any evidence found, and it's pretty much become a whole Reddit thread.
It was just one guy. It was one guy, and he pulled off the ultimate troll. He rickrolled the hell out of everybody before rickrolling was a thing. This guy's a legend. This guy is a legend. He trolled everybody, and nobody knows who the hell he is, dude. Genius. Genius.
Who this person was, what happened.
And he just like goes back to his day job. He helps people file their taxes.
So it's an
He's got a wife and
mystery to
kids.
go on, but from everything I could find, it was just two guys messing with the media.
It's just a
And then for
guy.
the last one I'm going to cover in tier 1, we have the UN agenda. This is pretty much just relates to Agenda 21.
Anything with the word
other
agenda
conspiracies, which I'll talk about more in later tiers, but the idea that the UN is trying to
makes my
build
brain
itself
hurt.
towards a new world order. So that is the end of tier 1. Like I said, there are 10 tiers, and they just get crazier from here. Everything I just covered is stuff that you can simply search conspiracy theory.
I think the craziest one, the one with the this one is insane. Oh my god, this one is insane. You get kidnapped, and then this photo, the craziest photo, just appears in a parking lot. It just appears in a fucking parking lot. That is so damn crazy. That is so crazy, bro. Like, how does that even happen? How does that even happen? There is another child in this picture with tape. You know what I'm saying? So this is clearly a serial abductor. So, one light-skinned Sherlock Holmes, throwing on his monocle here for a second, you know what I'm saying? One of 3 things happened. Number 1, the assailant accidentally dropped it out of their car. Right? Right? Because this was the 90s. They had the Polaroids. Right? With the picture actually came out the bottom of it, you know? And he would take these pictures. He's like a sick freak for his own pleasures. And he opens the door and it blows out, you know? Scenario 2, somebody who was a victim purposely left it as a trail. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been here. Hey, here's a clue for finding me. You know what I'm saying? Dropping hints, trying to help out the detectives, you know? Or option number 3, this guy's the Riddler. This guy is literally the Riddler, and he's dropping hints to Batman to catch him, dude. Cause, like, how does that picture just, dude, this is crazy. That is not a box of Trojans. I don't know what it is. Trust me, I know all about the this is not a box of Trojans. This looks like, some type of product, you know? Like, I don't know, dude, but it's not I don't think it's the Trojans. I'm going to commit neck bone crack. Two steps ahead. I don't think that's a box of rubbers. I don't think. Anyways, this was only just the tip of the iceberg, so I fully expected this to be a little bit mild. However, there was still definitely some entertaining things in here, dude, and I feel like we're gonna get very, very deep. Wendigoon seems like a very upstanding gentleman, but he could switch and become a raging maniac here in a few moments, you know what I'm saying? So, the deeper we get into this, the more terrified and fearful I am going to be of my entire life, dude.